Alright, so I'm rearranging things a little bit. I'm getting geared up for my 2020, so I'm gonna start do things just a little differently. So now Happy Monday is going to be live in the Happy Monday group, which makes sense, right? And but you can still see it publicly, so you don't have to join the group if you don't wanna, but you can join the group if you want to have more conversation about what we talk about. So today what we're talking about is narcissism. What I see a lot out there is resources and books about people that have been the recipient of narcissistic behavior. Plenty of resources. And I'm glad because I was in a narcissistic relationship and it is not pleasant. It is really painful. It is really hard. So I'm really happy that we have a lot of resources out there for people that do need it, and it is valid. What I see very little of is resources that talk about the person that is suffering of narcissism. And I'm choosing my words very carefully here because we use the word narcissist a lot, the same way that we use the word alcoholic or addict. And we now know that alcoholism and addiction are things that people suffer from. They don't just had the desire when they grow up to be an addict, you know. This is not what they set themselves up for. This is what happens. This is the unravelment of what is happening. So I'm getting really annoyed as seeing the word narcissist everywhere, talking about a narcissist as a bad person, as an evil person, as somebody that is setting themselves up to destroy you, and that's not it. So let's look at it just as objectively as possible, if we will. A narcissist, or person suffering from narcissism, is displaying a very selfish behavior. People that are selfish have a really hard time connecting with others, right? So that's why they want to take care of themselves first. So people that take care of themselves first don't know how to connect with others. So now we have somebody that doesn't know how to connect with other people. That is not an evil person. That is just somebody with very poor social skills. People that suffer from narcissism don't apologize for things that they do that are hurtful. People that don't know how to apologize have very low self-esteem. They think they are not enough. They don't have a vulnerability to connect with what they did wrong, so they just don't apologize. They avoid it. That is not an evil person. That is somebody who thinks they're not enough, and it's very painful and it's really hard for them. Somebody who suffers from narcissism is going to manipulate others to get what they want. Well, let's look at a 5-year-old child that is trying to manipulate you in buying them an ice cream. And then they don't get it, they go into a tantrum. That is not an evil child. That is just somebody who's really trying to get what they want, and they did not develop the skills to actually do it at a level that is not going to hurt someone. A person that is suffering from narcissism is not an evil being. It is somebody who is deeply terrified of so many things in the world. It's someone that thinks they're not enough, has not developed the confidence, has not developed the emotional skills or resilience to have a very vulnerable conversation. Somebody who's suffering from narcissism is someone who is terrified all the time. All the time. And I invite you to contemplate that picture of someone who's terrified with no skills, no emotional resilience, and is trying so hard to keep their head above water. That is not an evil being. That is just somebody who's having a really hard time. And unfortunately, the people in those relationships, let it be that it's going to be a parent-child relationship, an emotionally linked relationship, it usually is, between mates, between friends, maybe it's your boss. It's usually a very close relationship. That's why it's so difficult. That's why it's so painful. That's why it's so hurtful. What I'm inviting you today to do is let's make sure that we're using the proper, adequate, productive language to talk about what we're talking about. I was in a narcissistic relationship, and the person that suffers from narcissism is in a great amount of pain. And that doesn't excuse the behavior, but it does explain it. And as I mentioned in a live that I did a few weeks or months ago, accountability will set you free. So is the truth. It is a whole lot easier to recover from a painful relationship or situation if we can look at things the way they are compared to the way we want them to be. And it's really easy to set ourselves up to be in a victim position, because then it removes all accountability from our side. I read a post the other day that said grace is realizing that people that did something bad to you are suffering. So I don't know if I'm in a state of grace, but when it comes to narcissism, there are a few things that I did the research on that make complete sense if we start looking at it the other way. You know what I mean? Okay. So if you have any feedback, and now that we're in a group and we can have really great conversations, between people that have a very focused goal with each other, I'd love to hear more of you. And as always, I always love it when I get those private messages. That always matters to me. It always makes my day. So please keep them going. And until next week, reach for the greatest version of yourself. You can do it. Bye-bye.